Hi everyone, it's Kasia from TarotMap, and I wanted to make a video as a response to the top 5 tarot decks that I couldn't live without. I wanted to do it with Oracle Edition because I used to have this kind of Oracle, my favorite Oracle decks video done a few years ago, and I just decided that I'm not going to cheat. So I'm not going to do top 5, but I want to show you some Oracle decks that I keep using a lot and that I love, and I'm going to share them into groups. You will see. So first group, I'm going to show the Oracle decks that I use nearly in every reading. And what's interesting, I noticed over the years, I really picked up on using the Oracle decks. So in the beginning, when I was learning and figuring out my reading style, I was really focused on using tarot a lot and maybe pulling one or two oracle cards. Right now I see that I use tarot decks, maybe 2 or 1 or 3, whatever, you know me. I love mixing, but I use a lot of different oracle cards as an additional information, additional layer to the reading, and I find that reading style works perfectly for me. So I'm pretty sure that there will be other people who love reading like this as well, and I'm sure there will be people who will just go, no way, this is totally not my style. So what I encourage you to do when you're learning tarot or when you're finding out what your reading style is, first of all, keep using cards to see, and keep reading for yourself, for friends. Just keep using the decks and the cards, and organically your style will start evolving. You will see what you feel drawn to, what you like, what you don't like, and you will chuck away decks that you kind of maybe like how they look, but they don't really make you make good reading decks for you. So that's always an important part to keep in mind, to actually not think about your style so much, how you read, but keep reading, and this is going to organically shape and shift your reading style. So let's start with the decks that I use most often right now, because I'm in that sacred feminine masculine unifying vibe, so I'm drawn to certain type of decks. I will show you a few decks which you probably have seen over and over again on my channel, but let's start with definitely some oracle decks that I keep using, will be using, will never stop using probably. So the Weaver's Oracle deck, you can see review of most of these decks on my channel if you just go to the playlist. I'm going to link it up right now, you can join. So the Weaver's Oracle, a lot of you know this deck. This is a very deep deck. This is a deck that demands your attention, demands you to slow down and actually engage with the guardian that it's depicted on the card. The book is very poetic and story oriented, so if you're looking for a quick fix or just a few keywords and a quick inspiration, this is not a good deck for that. This is a deck for sitting down and actually really engaging with the energy that comes with it. But I love this deck, and it's just one of my favorites, and just the images are so vibrant and so they like responsive, like when you get this face, like you see it staring at you, it's just kind of does something to your emotional body. So for me, it just really works brilliantly, and I often draw one of the Weavers as a guardian for a whole reading. Let's say when I do client readings, or for myself, I draw them when I have a certain question or inquiry and I need like this deep kind of ancestral type of wisdom to follow. So this is a wonderful deck, and I use it very often. I also use, I mix them together, so it's like a big mama now, but the Red Seeds Oracle 1 and 2 by Linda Hill, and also I have done a review of these decks. I don't know if I show all the cards, I showed all the cards of the Red Seeds too, but I think I have. Yeah, you can watch both of the decks reviewed on my channel. And this deck, I love it so much. It comes always with quotations either from Rumi or from Sappho in the second part. And I love the lesson and the challenge, like the challenge and the gift that the cards are bringing with. And just descriptions are amazing. It's easy to use. The artwork is beautiful. If you know Egon Schiele as well, I always feel like Linda's artwork is similar to his line as well, with how he painted the bodies. And it's just very feminine but very deep and not shining away from, you know, shadow work, which is really beautiful, because often oracle decks tend to be much more light, you know, and much more kind of embracing the light side. This one is not. This one is deep and it embraces both sides, but it definitely is the darker oracle, one of the darker ones that I have, and very real and very kind of sacred feminine in the very positive way. So say Red Seeds Oracle, amazing deck, use it all the time. Another one that I started incorporating into all of my readings is this Rose Alchemy Oracle by Rose Alchemy by Sandy Hamby. And if you love roses and if you see roses as, you know, this pure love codes and kind of carriers of unconditional love and of sacred geometry, and we can attach so many philosophies to the roses and to flowers in general, you will be fascinated, probably like myself, with this oracle deck. I also have done a review of this deck, so you can take a look, but Sandy is having actually a Kickstarter campaign right now for an extended version of this deck. It will be 52 cards. I think I have 47 or 45. 45, I think. She adds another 7 cards, Cosmic Roses. It's a whole system, it's a whole healing system, and Sandy has classes. She's got, you know, it comes with the book that explains each of the rows and how they separate it. You can see it in my review as well, but I usually pull one of the rose cards for people as well, and it's fascinating how spot on often that is, you know. Like recently even I had a client who talked about mother issues and mother wound, and of course I pulled one rose and spoke exactly about that. So I use this in nearly every reading. Another one that I use very often is this herbal healing deck, and it's so wonderful. I love this deck so much. I love the images and the kind of like the plants come alive. It's like I can see the spirit of the plant through these images. But the book is so well written. It's psychological, it's deep, but it's easy read, and it's like well put into words and kind of, you know, delivered in a like a bite size. So it's amazing. I love this deck, and it's very spot on too. So thanks to Tarot by Anya, or Roots of Aurora now, for delivering this deck to me. Another one that I enjoy so much, and it's like a warm hug, this deck. Even though it's dark, it's not one of those easy fun decks. It's the one of the cards, for example. So this is the Wistar Oracle, and I have just backed, I think it's still on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, I can't remember now, but there is Trisha's deck is on Kickstarter. It's called now the Precious Forest Oracles. It's the second part to this one, and they come with the backs, you know, with the writing in the back, but the images are very haunting and a very beautiful, and also a great oracle deck for shadow and light work. So it's not one-sided, it's not all just beautiful and pretty and great. It's more on this. Trisha said that she, you know, it was a process for her when she was going through difficult times in her life, and it was like a part of work she did on reclaiming the self. So this deck, I love it, and I use it very often in tarot readings. So that's the Wistar Oracle, Reclaiming Self. Another one that I use very often is Lisa's The San Croix Oracle and action, invoking the goddesses, oracle and action. And it's a round deck, as you can see, and I colored it, but I use it very often, so it's like rubbing off now. And it's just a goddess deck, but it's so beautiful. I really enjoy also the messages, the little kind of poem that comes with it, like it's a voice of the goddess, of the being, and then the little kind of action-oriented inspiration, what we can do. So this deck is gorgeous. I also have done a review of it. You can also watch an interview I've done with Lisa de St. Croix. She's so creative, like an amazing creative artist. And I think I was very inspired after this interview. Like I wanted to go off and, you know, do something with something creative. And she gives some wonderful examples and encourages us to do creative stuff with the cards. So take a look at this. I will link it all in the description box. Another one that I use all the time in my readings is the Lavish Earth Oracle, and it's a great great oracle deck. It's maybe, I would say, maybe a little bit more kind of on the intellectual side, but only because it has this amazing quotations. It looks like it looks, so it's more about reading than picture, but it's stunning. And I can really see using crystals. I have been using crystals since, you know, for 20 years or something now, and I can really see that whoever created this deck has a great personal connection to the stones, and I really appreciate it, you know. So it's not just another crystal book, and I love it. It's this really cool deck, very inspiring. And this one has some shadow as well, of course, but yeah, it's very kind of neutral. It's a nice oracle deck. I also love the Plant Alley cards and Tree Wisdom cards by Lisa McLaughlin. I tend to kind of swap, depends on the mood, and I navigate, either I use one more than the other. Right now I'm using more the Plant Alleys, but you know, last year I was using definitely much more the Tree Wisdom. It's great, and I also love what she writes in the back. I actually became quite a fan of those writing in the back cards. It's easy, you don't need to have separate booklet. Usually the messages are quite precise and, you know, not too long. So if they're well written, they're really inspiring. So Lisa McLaughlin's decks for many years now belong to my favorites. From Cilla Conway, the Devas Oracle, Devas of Creation. It's just one of those decks that it just never gets boring to me. I love it. It's like soul cards, which, did I pull them? Yeah, soul cards are right with this deck. The booklet is great. I love the whole idea about the Devas. I liked how Cilla depicted them in the art. It's just such an amazing, can be very deep deck. At the same time, really intuitive, so you can go with the book, but you can also let the image make an impression on you, you know. It's just a very wonderful way of connecting to the image as well, just to see how it makes you feel. And for anyone who practices readings with tarot and oracle decks, to let the image make an impression on you, impress you in some way. It's a great way to connecting to decks and to learning reading in intuitive way, because the cards sometimes can mean totally different things in two different readings, and it can be still the same card, but depending on the question, depending on context, depending on your mood, what details are you drawn to, you might see a totally different, you know, message coming through. So as I mentioned, the soul cards, that's also another deck that is just incredible, and love using it. And you know, I have a lot of decks, so recently I haven't been using it so much, but I always reach for it. I would never, you know, let go of this deck, because this is one of the decks that just doesn't get boring. See, this is now Maria Magdalena for me. So yeah, this soul card's amazing. And I actually, in most of my readings, keep using these healing cards by Chuck Spezzano. I have to say that sometimes after using it for like few months now, I find the book quite, the writing in the book quite judgmental at times. Sometimes it's good to hear like slappy messages, but I really think that it's not non-violent communication in the book. But still, it's interesting, and it's kind of a little bit too kind of God religious to me, how he describes certain stuff. But nevertheless, I think that the cards work so well, especially when it comes to that shadow conspiracy set, because there are two sets. You can also watch the review of this deck on my channel, so I'm not going to like repeat myself, but I love using this deck, and I use it often that I pull, I shuffle the cards, and if I do it for a client, and I pull the card and I search for first conspiracy card that comes through, and then I search for the next card would be the light card, like what would help to solve or notice even, or embrace or accept or understand that kind of negative or shadow aspect that we are dealing with. And it actually can be very spooky, this deck. It's quite full on. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. There's one more deck that I keep coming back to over and over again, and it's a healing deck as well, and it's this Australian Bushflower Essences cards. So it's an old deck, it's it's well used already, but it's very emotional. So when you want to pinpoint an emotion that underlines a situation, or that you want to maybe focus on, or this one is great. And yeah, it also is quite spooky. So, and I think it's cool also if somebody wants to embrace, like do a little bit of psycho magic and actually do something, like perform an action. You can actually get an essence and use it. You can use it as a Bach flowers as well, or bush flower essences. And it's sometimes it really helps when you also do something physical to embrace your reading. So this is really awesome. After I got this set from Joe Jason, the Sacred Feminine Guidance cards, if you watch me on Instagram, you see how often I use these cards. These are meditation cards. She doesn't even call it an oracle deck. They only 13 Sacred Feminine cards, and I'm just going to show all of them now, because I think I've done it on YouTube, on Instagram. You can take a look. I don't think I've showed them on YouTube yet. So the Sacred Feminine Guidance cards, 13 Sacred Feminine archetypes, and Joe has channeled some messages, but I don't really use much of the book. I prefer to get my own impressions of the cards, but I think her artwork is very alive, and I love this one. That was my first card that I drew. So if you like this particular style of art and goddesses, this is also an amazing deck to play with. And as I said, it's only 13 cards. It comes in a set with this little booklet that I showed, and Mother Mary, little booklet that I showed, and like a goddess, like a pewter or metal goddess charm, which is also really beautiful. So this one I use more for myself as kind of meditation tool. Another one that I love is the Illuminated Earth Oracle. And this one is so cool because, first of all, the artwork is just, and the colors of this deck is just incredible. I think she's already maybe finished her Kickstarter campaign, but it can be purchased on Etsy, or at least you could have purchase this deck on Etsy. I'm not sure if it's available right now or if it's going to be available, but it's amazing. Illuminated Earth Oracle, I'm in love with it. When you put a few cards together, they just look so stunning. You just want to jump into the into the cards. And it comes with this little booklet, and for each card you just get tiny paragraph, but it's enough. It's well written and it's inspiring, and I love connecting this deck with other decks as well. It's beautiful, and it's just made so well. It's gold. It's beautiful. Love this deck. And the never ending story with Sacred Creators Oracle. I love it, I use it, goes with every deck, adds like just another layer of interpretation, often very surprising and spot on level. The book is very good as well, so these decks I use all the time. The Divine Doors from Rockpool Publishing, so cool. Very cute little oracle with just, you know, images of different doors and tiny little encouraging messages, and kind of like poetry, a little bit like spells, but yeah, it's very cute. So this is a very sweet little deck that I also keep drawing at times. There is a few more that I want to mention. One is the Roots and Wings Oracle, because I really love this deck. It's so soft. It's kind of how to name, like what to say about it. It's soulful. I love the artwork. It's a good mixture of things. It's very kind of natural, nature based. It's a healing in its kind of energy. It feels good to hold, and it's beautiful. So the artwork, everything in this deck is gorgeous. I don't use it in every reading, but I use it often, especially when I pull out Lumina Tarot or some of those gorgeous kind of well known hand-drawn decks. Next to it is this Birds Oracle deck, also one of those decks, you know, that you have to have special connection to birds if you want to use this deck, because, you know, you can be intuitive, but sometimes it's just a bird and that's it. You can't get much more out of the picture. The booklet is written really well, and the artwork is just stunning, right? It feels good. I use this deck often. I used to use it very much. These days I kind of, you know, keeps shifting, so for now it's kind of a little bit on the back burner, but I still think it's a very gorgeous deck, and I have connections to most of the birds used here. So if you love birds, this is something to look into, Birds Oracle deck. I have a cool review of this deck on my channel when I show also a lot of feathers that I collect from many of those birds mentioned here. And there's one more Goddess Oracle cards that I love and use all the time. This Goddess Oracle by Amy Sofia Marashinsky and Hrana Yanto made the you know, the illustrations. And the book with the poems are amazing. There are rituals. It's one of those decks that I love a lot, and I think it's worth having in the connection if you like goddess decks. This one I think is by far because I love the red seeds, but it's kind of darker. This one is much more, you know, if you need a little of actually it also has few cards that can knock you knock you down a little bit. I love to be knocked down at times, you know, because I like to get real messages from the cards, and I also this type of reader. Like, I'm not the always I mean, I always am an encouraging reader, but I don't bullshit my clients. Like, I just like to say what cards are showing, make it a little bit more show it in a detached way, so the client can actually deal with stuff, but not beautify and, you know, kind of lightify everything, you know. So another deck that I use quite often, recently again, a bit on the back burner, but it's this Chakra Arcana Tarot by Carol Herzer. I love this deck. So these are the chakra cards, and then what she did, she attached 2 chakras to each of the major arcana from tarot. So you can see from Rider-Waite-Smith like the similar, you know, people from the major arcana, and there are 2 chakras attached to each of them, and there's a whole system too in this one, and it's interesting and it works really well too. So I used to use that a lot. And yeah, I wouldn't want to really be without this deck. So And then the next three, I'm not going to show them maybe, but the Universal Love Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno. And usually I'm not the fan of this type of decks, but this one is really beautiful, and it has a lot of Mary Magdalene kind of Christ cards, so I love it. Mother Mary Oracle by Alana Fairchild is by far my favorite of her decks. I love it. I love the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle as well. Actually, they both gorgeous. And Rumi Oracle also that I got from Victoria. It's a wonderful, wonderful deck. So these three. And the next kind of session, like a group, is actually, they are tarot decks, but I keep using them as oracle decks. So there's this mythical goddess tarot, and I love this deck. This deck is, and I was laughing because I got this deck from Lina from Fire of Transformation, and this artwork wasn't my favorite artwork, but I was always drawn to it. It's very femme, very kind of soft, very intuitive, very beautiful in a way of like emotional, and it has various, various cards. It has guardians, it has goddesses, and it can be read, I mean, it is a tarot, it has all the elements and things, so it's normal tarot system, and I read it also as a tarot deck, but I like to read it as an oracle deck, and it has a very beautiful booklet with it, well written, with good info, kind of hits the spot. So I love this deck, and I use it very often in the readings as well, actually. But I noticed that I keep using it kind of, borderline between tarot and oracle deck, which actually happens also to the Herbcrafters tarot. So, I love it, and I know it's a tarot, right? But how it is, like the artwork, how it is drawn, and the booklet, how it comes with the explanation, it follows the tarot system, no doubt about it. But I also love just the little, the hanging washing, the little kind of intuitive hits that you get from the images. And the artwork is just incredible. I love it. And I just love how US Games published this deck. It's so beautiful. And these are the backs. But yeah, this is to me a little bit also like a kind of plant oracle deck. That's how it seems to be used most often in my readings these days. It might shift, but right now that's how it is. So Herbcrafters Tarot, that became an oracle deck. And the other one is Art of Life Tarot. It's also one of those decks that, to me it's like an oracle. I mean, it is obviously tarot, but I love how she, what quotations she chose for the deck. So King of Wands says, for example, self-confidence is the first requisite to great undertakings. Yeah. Ten of Cups. Let us be grateful to people who make us happy. They are charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Ah. So each of these, if you like pull one a day as an inspiration, it's really gorgeous. So these are the bags from Klimt, and you can actually also set it as like a table coffee thingy. So it sets like this, and then you can put, your card. Oops, you can put your card. You can. You can put your card. And it can just, stay and remind you of this wisdom throughout the day. So that's tarot decks that became oracle decks in my world. And three last decks that I want to mention. So one is this cool Angels of Light oracle. And again, angels decks are not my favorite, I'd say. I have two, which I use. Actually, I have this Guardian Angels Oracle from Chrissy Astel. I haven't pulled it, but yeah, I use it as well. And this one, because I think Jennifer Ball said that it frees angels from that kind of religious imagery. And it has this, very cool artwork by Ambika Waters. Is the illustrated and written by Ambika Waters, Wauters, and I just love it. So, and this comes from Edison Books, and it's quite really affordable. It's quite cheap. So if you were looking maybe for an oracle deck that had angels, but it's not, you know, this typical kind of imagery of angelic presence, this one is very creative, and the book is also very well done. I've done a review of this deck, so you can also check it out. But as much as I don't use it maybe very, very often, I like reaching for it what I want to, just a little bit like a warm hug, or embrace my creative aspects a little bit more, because it's very creative. Another one is the one that I just received from Watkins Publishing, and this is the Ancestral Oracle of the Celts, and this is from Caitlin Matthews. And actually, you know, I've done quite a few readings with this deck by now. I don't have it for very long, but I've done a few, because, you know, I'm a professional reader, so you read for clients, so I have many more chances to use those decks for other people than they would be just sitting, you know, on the shelf otherwise. But these are the Divine Ancestors cards, and these are the... I actually done a review of this deck on my Instagram TV, so you can take a look. These are the clan cards. They color coordinated, and they show different ancestral beings doing different things. The book is very cool because it has a lot of questions, which I love, and the artwork is beautiful. So for ancestral readings, this is really cool, and I've done some ancestral readings for myself and also for the clients, and it seems like it's really working very well. So this Ancestral Oracle of Celts, a new one, but for specific readings, very cool. And I have to mention the Moon deck. It's just, I love it. So this one is more, and you can also watch a video on how to use this deck, which I made before. It's on my channel. Fuck, I made a lot of videos. So I'm like, keep checking my playlist if you want to see all the reviews that's in the playlist, you know, the reviews, and Study Tarot will have how to use different something. So this is for all the phases of the moon and different signs. And I love it. It really works very well, and the book is really well written. And because it came up now, it was very expensive to get because it was out of print, but it came up now, the Moon deck, and you can take a look, and it's mass produced, so it's affordable, I think. And yeah, it's a great oracle deck. I do have many more oracle decks that I could probably shove in here, but it's already half an hour long video. So I do hope you enjoyed it, and I would love to know if you use oracle decks, and if you find oracle decks add specific meanings to your readings, because I personally think that my tarot readings would never be the same without additional layers of adding oracle cards to them. And because, as I always mention, I have a lot of decks, I love to add a lot of decks to the readings so that I can see them, I can use them. I'm inspired by art, I'm inspired by beauty, and you know, seeing the cards come together, creating stories is just really beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm glad I have shared those decks with you. Let me know which ones are your favorite, or maybe if you know any specific oracle deck that you love and maybe I don't know about it, please comment. Oh my god, how could I possibly not mention this deck? Wait, I have to add something. A deck that I use every day, every bloody day. And this is Oracle of Initiation, Rainbows in the Dark. This is the book. It's by Melissa Lucia. And this deck is like when I received Weaver's Oracle decks 4 years ago. This is my new Weaver's Oracle. This is how it makes me feel, how it makes me embrace the initiation journey. It's amazing. And I know it might be not for everybody. People can get freaked out by the artwork, I'm not sure. I love this deck. If I was to pick now deck that I use the most, would be probably this deck. And it's deep, it's connected, every card is connected also to a guardian, so you get like, you know, this one is connected to Odin, and they all connected to, this one to me is John Dark, but it's a Pele. It has the gates of initiation which you have to walk through, like thresholds. I've done a full review of this deck, blah blah blah, but it's amazing. So this is the tarot edition that can be purchased on, I think, one Printer Studio, and I also have the art edition, which is not available anymore, but to be honest, I was thinking that it's going to be so much more amazing than the tarot edition, but the tarot edition is beautiful, and this one is color coordinated, so you get, you know, all these different colors, and yes, the images are bigger because it's a difference in sizes, and they much more maybe striking in a sense of the size, but as using the oracle, I will be definitely, you know, I'm glad I have two because some cards are different, but yeah, it's the tarot edition. It's really beautiful how it's done, and affordable as well, because I think the art edition was like over $100 because it's huge and it was self-published. So yeah, if you like any of this deck specifically, let me know. And thank you so much for tuning in for 33 minutes of your life, and speak to you soon. Bye.